There is a part of you that has always felt like you don't entirely belong here. Not in a broken way, in a knowing way. Like you arrived carrying something you haven't fully unpacked yet, and the world around you keeps moving at a frequency that doesn't quite match the one humming inside your chest. You've read the teachings, you've done the work, you've sat with the ideas long enough that they stopped being ideas and started feeling like memories. And still, something feels incomplete. Like you're waiting for a signal that hasn't come through yet. What if the signal is you? What if everything you've been taught about contact, about connection to something larger, something beyond this world, something that could finally explain why you feel the way you feel, is pointing in the wrong direction? Not outward, not upward, not toward a sky you're scanning for ships. Bashar has said something that most people hear, and then politely set aside because it's too disorienting to hold. The contact you are waiting for is not coming to you. It is coming through you. And the distance you feel between yourself and that truth is not measured in light years. It's measured in frequency. If this is already landing somewhere in you, if something just shifted in your chest reading those words, you found this channel for a reason. We don't do surface level here. We don't recap. We go into the places most spiritual content is too comfortable to go. Hit subscribe and stay close. There's more of this where it came from, and something tells me you've been looking for exactly this kind of conversation for a very long time. Here is what almost no one in the manifestation space will say clearly. The framework you've been working with is not wrong. It's incomplete. You've been taught to raise your vibration so that things can come to you, so that the right person, the right opportunity, the right life can finally find its way into your experience. You've been treating yourself like a receiver. A very devoted, very disciplined, very tired receiver. And the exhaustion you feel isn't spiritual failure. It's the specific exhaustion of someone who has been reaching, beautifully, earnestly reaching, in a direction that was never quite the right one. Bashar calls this the fundamental misunderstanding of the signal, and once you see it, you cannot unsee it. You are not a receiver, you are a transmitter, and the entire cosmos, including every being, every intelligence, every consciousness that exists beyond the bandwidth of ordinary human perception, is in relationship with the signal you are broadcasting, not the one you are waiting to pick up. Think about how a radio station works. The station doesn't sit quietly hoping that someone somewhere has a radio tuned to the right frequency. The station broadcasts, continuously, completely, without waiting for confirmation that anyone is listening. Its job is not to receive. Its job is to be the signal, and anyone with the right equipment, tuned to the right frequency, will find it. Not because the station searched for them, because the station was fully, completely itself. Just like a radio station doesn't adjust its broadcast based on whether listeners feel ready. Your signal, the one that is your truest state of being, doesn't wait for permission. It radiates. Always. Right now. The question is whether what you're radiating matches what you say you want to connect with. You are already the contact. This is where the teaching gets specific and where most people feel a strange mixture of relief and discomfort because it means the power was always here. It was never out there. The extraterrestrial intelligences that Bashar represents, and Bashar has been extraordinarily clear about this, do not move through space to find you. They move through frequency. They operate in spectrums of consciousness that are perfectly adjacent to yours, like radio stations sitting right next to each other on the dial, separated not by miles, but by bandwidth. The reason you haven't felt that contact, that resonance, that sense of being genuinely met by something vast and intelligent and loving, is not because it isn't there. It's because the frequency you've been broadcasting has been too cluttered with doubt, with waiting, with the static of I'm not ready yet and it hasn't happened yet, and something must be wrong with me. Think of a tuning fork. When you strike one tuning fork and hold another nearby that is tuned to the same frequency, the second fork begins to vibrate, without being touched. It doesn't need to search for the first fork. It doesn't need to deserve it, or earn it, or visualize it hard enough. It simply needs to be at the right frequency, and the resonance happens automatically, because that is the law of the universe. That is not metaphor, that is physics. Just like that tuning fork responds to its match without effort or seeking, your consciousness responds to the frequencies it is aligned with, and the intelligences aligned with yours respond to you. You are already the contact. Now here is where it deepens, because this is the part that most teachings skip, and it's exactly where you've been losing the thread. You've been told to align, to raise your vibration, to feel good, think positive, hold the vision, and you've been doing it. Some days beautifully. But then you look at your life and the evidence doesn't match the effort, and you conclude, quietly, painfully, that either the teaching isn't real or you aren't doing it right. Both of those conclusions are wrong. The actual problem is something far more interesting. You've been aligning with the idea of the thing, not the frequency of it. There's a difference, and it's everything. Aligning with the idea of contact, of connection, of being met by something greater, means you are thinking about it, visualizing it, hoping for it, waiting for it. You are holding it at arm's length conceptually, like a map of a country you've never visited. But the frequency of it, the actual embodied, lived, cellular state of being someone who is in contact, that requires something different. It requires you to stop orienting toward it and start being it. For me, this clicked in the most unexpected way. I was sitting with Bashar's teaching on parallel realities, the idea that every version of your life already exists, fully formed, like channels on a television. And I kept trying to tune to the channel I wanted by thinking about it very hard, by wanting it very much. And one day it occurred to me, when you change the channel on a television, you don't stand in front of the screen and intensely desire the new channel. You change the dial. You make a physical, actual adjustment to the instrument, and then the new channel simply appears, because it was always there. Just like every channel on your television exists simultaneously, whether you are watching it or not, every version of your life, including the one where contact has already happened, where resonance is already your reality, already exists at a frequency you can tune to right now. The version of you who has that isn't coming, it's waiting. The question is never, how do I get there? The question is, what adjustment do I need to make to the instrument? This is not about effort, it's about frequency, because here is what Bashar is pointing to, very precisely, when he speaks about consciousness beyond this planet. Those intelligences are not in another galaxy, waiting for technology sophisticated enough to cross the distance. They are in another frequency, one that is immediately available to you the moment your instrument, your state of being, your emotional body, your energetic signature, is tuned to match it. The distance is not spatial, it is vibrational, and vibrational distance can collapse in an instant, not in 3,000 years. Now, so what do you actually do with this? Here is the practical bridge, and it's simpler than anything you've been handed before, which might make you want to dismiss it. Don't. Stop reaching toward the frequency you want to access. Start inhabiting it. Today. Not perfectly, not completely, just genuinely. Here is what that means in practice. For the next 3 days, once in the morning and once in the evening, ask yourself one question and sit with it honestly. Not analytically, not anxiously, but openly. The question is this: what would I be feeling right now if the connection I've been seeking had already happened? Not what would my life look like. Not what would be different. What would you feel? Would you feel less alone? Would you feel more trusting of your own perceptions? Would you feel a kind of quiet certainty that you are part of something vast and benevolent and intelligent? Feel that. Not as a visualization, not as a performance, as a choice. A deliberate tuning of your instrument toward that frequency, held for 30 seconds, for 1 minute, for however long it remains genuine and not forced. Because the moment it becomes effort, you've left the frequency. The moment it becomes real, even briefly, even imperfectly, you have made contact. Not metaphorically, literally. Bashar has said, every moment you exist in the state of being you wish to experience, you are already in that reality. You are not approaching it. You are not preparing for it. You are in it. The outer evidence follows, not because you earned it, but because that is how frequency works. That is how reality is structured, not as a reward system. As a mirror, you are already the contact. We began here, with the feeling that something vast is out there, that connection is possible, that you were built for a resonance you haven't fully felt yet. And I told you the signal was you, not the you who is trying, reaching, waiting, the you who is already the thing you've been searching for an encounter with. The extraterrestrial question, will contact happen when, how, has always been the wrong question. Not because contact isn't real, because the question assumes a direction. It assumes outside, later, elsewhere. Bashar's entire transmission, and I mean this in the deepest way, is an act of contact from a consciousness that is showing you, through its very existence, that the frequency gap between what you are and what you long to connect with is smaller than a breath. It is the width of a choice, the shift of an instrument, a tuning so subtle that it feels like nothing until suddenly everything is different. You've been doing the work. You've been showing up, turning inward, sitting with the discomfort of transformation. That devotion is not wasted. It is the frequency itself. It is evidence that you are already broadcasting something worth meeting. The cosmos doesn't need 3,000 years to reach you. It needs you to stop waiting for it and recognize what you already are. You were never waiting for contact. You were always the signal.